Hi, my name's Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and this is our third session of Songs for the Dusk, a Forged in the Dark game by Kavita Pajuri. This was organized as part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. If you don't know, the Gauntlet is an online community that plays and discusses a whole lot of tabletop role playing games, especially Indian story games, OSR games, things like that. You can find out more at gauntlet-rpg.com. There's Slack, there's forums, there's Patreon, all kinds of good stuff that you can find out more about, as well as actually playing games. This week, unfortunately, Dana, who plays our witch Savati, couldn't make it. She'll be back next week, hopefully, along with another new player. But we are joined this week again by Ian as Uncle Doctor. So thanks for jumping in again.
Glad to be here.
Cool. Well, let's start with introductions. So, if we'll go around, if you could tell us you and your character's name and pronouns, and anything else that we should know about you or them. Ian, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Yeah. Glad to be back after having missed last week's session. I and my character, Uncle Doctor, both use he, him pronouns. My name is Ian. Uncle Doctor is a kind of, I guess you could call him kind of like a golden age style android robot, like very Metropolis style robot. He has sort of glass lenses, like headlights for eyes that glow, and out of every bit of him there is always like popping out little gadgets and gizmos in a sort of Inspector Gadget style. um, he's most often found wearing like janitorial coveralls with a little velcro patch that he just like rips off and slaps on whatever uh like role he's performing in the community, because he does a lot of, he's sort of a general purpose handyman around the community. And he was programmed based on the personality of this eccentric inventor who sadly is no longer with the community of Pine Lock. And so he has this kind of like grandfatherly or maybe great uncle like persona around the community, and people sort of look up to him and also maybe make fun of him a little bit.
Cool. I'm a little bit worried for Uncle Doctor in that he didn't get to do any downtime activities, which we covered in our last session, but we'll see how that works out
That's
for
okay.
him. Thank you.
He's
Puckett.
been so busy. He's had to like keep the streetlights going and so on.
Absolutely. All right, Puckett.
Hey there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Things you should know. I'm super excited about the Apocalypse Keys Kickstarter that's going on right now with Ray Najati's game. Today I'll be playing Kluge, who uses she, her pronouns. She is a scrapper, and basically she makes stuff, fixes stuff, and is emitting holograms from her skin of whatever she happens to be thinking about at the moment, which apparently is almost always dragons.
Cool.
Are the holograms a new touch? I don't think that they were there the last time we played. That's pretty cool.
Lotus bargains are something else sometimes.
Yeah.
And Agatha.
Hi everyone. Sorry. I'm Agatha. And coming back to me, I'm so sorry, I just got pinged.
Okay. Sure. So
Agatha is being very punk and playing with us on the sly at the moment.
So let's just briefly recap where we did get to last time then.
Yes, please.
So we did just run through like a session of downtime activities. So mostly fairly low-key stuff around the community of Lachlan, which had suffered greatly in some heavy thunderstorms. As you heard, Kluge now has a small problem with inconvenient holograms after some experiments with holographic vines that grow in the area. Rona, who we haven't been introduced yet, but is Agatha's character, has become concerned about the Hand of the Cocoon, which is a faction that almost cult-like veneration of a mysterious lady who has slept in a cocoon deep in the shadow for untold amounts of time, but who they hope to free from the cocoon shortly. And Rona learnt that they are looking for some sort of blade that is sharp enough or powerful enough to open this cocoon, and doesn't know exactly what it is that they have planned once they get that cocoon open, but fears that it will not be a good thing. So that led into today's scheme, which is that you have decided to sneak into the Hand of the Cocoon's big sort of compound in Iron Harbour, the city in the south of Pinelock. You're going to sneak in through the sewers, and you're going to try and steal as much money or other resources from them as possible to make it harder for them to obtain this blade that they want so badly.
Purely for altruistic purposes, of course.
For purely altruistic robbery.
We're just going to frame all that money. We're going to put it in a display case after we're done. And
yeah, I think you're probably going to invest a good chunk of it in the community, which would be the wholesome answer. Unfortunately, your engagement roll did not go well, so you're going to start today's scheme in a desperate position.
Of course.
Agatha, are you back with us? Do you want to introduce yourself now?
Yes, I'm back. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can introduce me. Hi, I'm Agatha. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm playing Rona, whose pronouns are also she, her. She's a very serious kind of gal. Basically, the straight man for all of the shenanigans of Kluge, I think, is the dynamic that we've established. Yeah, she realizes that that specific faction, what is it? The Hand of the Cocoon, really don't like us and the magpies, and is no, we're not magpies. We're the Seagulls. Sorry, and it's like, okay, we need to deal with this issue before the issue comes to us.
Fair. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to recap or ask about before we get into today's scheme?
Just that Kluge has decided she really, really appreciates Rona and wants to help Rona, and that will probably end terribly for everyone involved.
The wacky vines that you guys were dealing with, that we had initially gone on our first mission to find some things to barter for the things that we needed to clear those up. Those got all cleared up. We took care of them.
The poltergeist weed is under control now.
Okay. Although not, as you said, without some maybe unforeseen side effects.
Wow. All kinds of unforeseen consequences, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm sure there won't be any of those for the rest of the session. Yeah, Uncle Doctor is being very protective of especially the young people of Lachlan. Is very enthusiastic to throw a wrench into the works of anybody who would bring them harm. So
cool.
Perhaps too enthusiastic. Maybe that's why we're in such a bad position starting out.
All right. So let's talk about the sort of good news and bad news of the situation that you're starting out in today. The good news is that you successfully snuck into the Hand of the Cocoon compound through the sewers in Iron Harbour. You found your way to the central office in the main building and have found the safe where they keep their shells and perhaps other valuables or stuff that you might want to take. The bad news, though, and what makes this a desperate situation for you as we start out, is that once you were in here in the compound, you realize that it seems like the Hand of the Cocoon is on high alert for some reason. There are more people here that you expected, both regular human hand agents and the agents that have been altered and enhanced with these strange spider-like symbiotes that the cult likes. There seem to be more guard patrols than you expected, more movement generally, a lot more ways to get noticed or caught. Don't know why that is, whether they got wind of your plan somehow or whether something else is going on. But now you're right in the middle of their headquarters. You need to get the contents of that safe out of the office and out of this headquarters and out of this city and back to Lachlan. So before we talk about how you'll do that, I'll get you all to just declare your load. What is it? Light, medium, or heavy? Is that right? Uncle Doctor, are you light, normal, or heavy? Are you muted?
Sorry, my chair is very creaky. I don't think that we were ever going to have a chance of convincing these people that we were just here on a friendly visit. There's nobody to fool necessarily, because if they see us here, they'll surmise our presence. So I think I'm heavy. I think I'm
interesting.
I think I'm strapped.
Okay. Klooch, what about you?
I'm always rolling heavy.
Excellent. And Rona?
Yeah, I would start with that. Rona is always just one level lighter than everyone else, so I guess I'm going with regular. I mean,
Normal.
Yeah, normal. Yes.
All right. So you gain 2 harmony whenever you declare your loads. So I'm going to mark those on the little harmony flower on the Magpies tab. Remembering that you can spend harmony to, well, it's in the cheap sheet now. What you can do with harmony, you can spend harmony during an action roll to add 1 die. Any PC can do that, but you can only spend harmony once per roll.
So just to be clear, that's 5 points of harmony there?
That
or
sounds
3.
right. I would have to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5.
Okay.
So
cool.
each of the purple blocks is 1 harmony.
Got it. Thank you.
No worries. So the safe is in front of you. It's, the size of maybe a large suitcase. So I guess the first thing to decide is, are you going to try and carry the safe out of here to open it up somewhere safer, which is going to be, somewhat burdensome, but maybe faster? Or are you going to try and crack the safe in here so that you can carry its contents out rather than the safe itself?
I do feel.
Oh,
please, Agatha, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like it's easier to carry a thing out. I don't know if that's actually true. Wait, no, it's safe. It's big. Never mind. Just kidding. It's things in the middle of hostile territory.
Yep.
Does the safe? How much does the safe weigh?
Look, I don't have an exact answer for you, but it's pretty heavy.
It's
like
as big as a person, right? Yeah.
Well, it said as big as a suitcase.
Yeah. It's big, thick metal. It's quite heavy. We're not going to give it an exact weight, but okay. We are going to give it an exact weight in the chat, 48 kilos. I don't really know how heavy that is. So, it's possible to carry out, but it's going to make things like running or certain kinds of stealth more difficult.
Classic. I'm gone for a week, and you get Uncle Doctor into a situation that he's entirely unprepared for.
Right.
I think we should try to open it. It could be that there might be something in there that will help us escape.
I think I agree. Yeah.
All right. I'd like to try to decipher the safe's combination. I'm assuming it's a combination safe.
Sure. Yeah. So what does that look like?
Mostly, I sit down in front of the safe. I kind of cock my head to one side and I look at it. And the holograms being emitted from my skin, which I'm still completely unaware of, start just flashing random numbers as I stare at this safe. And I'm very much interested in Lotus Gambits. You were so great last week. What do you got for us this week?
Oh, well, let's see. So, looking at an action roll for Decipher, I mean, one Lotus Gambit would definitely be that a like small squadron of guards station themselves right outside the door of this room.
Well, that's boring.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to suggest a Lotus Gambit?
That's boring for you? That's terrifying.
Well, I mean, last week the Lotus Gambit was no matter what happened with divine research, I was going to be emitting holograms.
It could be. I mean, I said before we don't really know what's in the safe. It could be that there's something that's hazardous in the safe.
Ooh.
Or
the
otherwise,
Lotus Gambit I will throw
unexpected.
is whatever's in there is actually going to be more trouble for us than what we thought we were stealing.
Okay, I mean, I guess I'm just thinking that, like, the Lotus Gambit has to go off whether you succeed or fail. So something, I guess we can probably pretty safely assume that one way or another you're getting that safe open eventually and creating.
Oh, we're getting that safe open.
Okay, so I'm happy to offer the Lotus Gambit that there's something inside that is worse than you anticipated.
Agatha, do you have any suggestions?
I do not. My brain is fried today.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like, some of the things that I've seen about safe cracking is that there's like something that will happen if somebody tries to crack the safe and it doesn't work. Like an alarm.
Yeah, like, sheets of glass and all that. Whatever. How about we do 2 Lotus Gambits?
I think you can only have one Lotus Gambit on a roll.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, 1 die, but have 2 things fire. The guards and the thing in the safe is worse.
You gotta let me save some consequences for other rolls that might go bad.
You gotta leave some meat on the bone.
And I can use tools to increase the roll, right?
That'll increase the effect, I think, rather than the die.
This is going to be a desperate roll, correct?
It is going to be a desperate roll. If someone wants to assist you, they can take 1 stress to give you an extra die. Or you could spend harmony on the roll. You've started out with 5. You've got a decent amount.
Let's see. What kind of effect would a greater effect have any purpose in this situation?
I think that you probably are going to start with great effect, because if you succeed, you're going to open the safe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you're probably not going to benefit from increased effect.
All right. So does anybody want to push themselves or assist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will. I think this looks like Uncle Doctor, like hunching, like, sort of leaning down over the safe, and instead of me being the one to like suss out the combination, my fingertips sort of dilate like stethoscopes and attach to the safe, and somewhere maybe like on the back of my head or something, there is like a readout of like, feeling the vibrations of when the hasps turn, or whatever the mechanism is to open the safe.
Yeah.
I'm helping you by becoming an instrument to assist.
All right. So Uncle Doctor marks 1 stress, and that's an extra die for Kluge.
So we're at 46, correct?
Well, sorry, which Lotus Gambit were you accepting?
Oh, you mean I can't do like whatever's in there is more trouble than we thought, and the guards?
I think that like it's one or the other.
All right, whatever's in there is more trouble than we thought.
Okay.
I feel like this is like Puckett is like just like trying to go for it, and then everyone else is like holding. It's like hold me back, except
Yeah.
you're not saying hold me back, you're saying let me go, and we're holding you back.
Yeah, and I'm like swimming in the air, like, let me at him.
All right. So you're up to 4 die. Do you want to spend harmony for a 5th die?
A 5th die?
Oh my gosh.
Hells yeah.
What an embarrassment of riches.
All right.
Hopefully that's what's going to be in the save.
Go ahead and roll.
We've already established that it's not going to be an embarrassment of riches, whatever it is. All right. So rolling 5d6.
It's a 6.
And a 5 and a 4.
All right. So on the 6, you're going to do it. So you pop the safe open. You know, the tumblers fall into place. There's a little click and a hiss as the door starts to open.
Can I say that there's like a little sort of Pulp Fiction like aura coming out of it?
Oh, there's an aura. And then you realize that the aura is not coming from the safe itself, but from whatever is now emerging from the safe. And you knew that the hand of the cocoon like to modify themselves by attaching these strange symbiotic organisms to their bodies. I mean, Kluge, since it was your Lotus Gambit, what does the symbiote look like as it advances menacingly from the open safe?
To me?
Yeah.
Well, to me, it looks cute.
Of course it does.
Like a little mouse.
No.
To everyone else, it probably looks like something threatening, like some sort of, almost like a cloud snake of some sort, like a predator.
Ooh. So does it change its appearance based on who is looking at it?
Well, I mean, if it's a symbiote and it wants you to absorb it, wouldn't it seem less threatening to the person who it wants to be absorbed by?
I guess.
All right. So, Uncle Doctor and Rona, you can see that this spooky-looking thing is making a beeline for Kluge, who looks pretty happy about the situation. What do you do?
Hi, cutie. What's your name?
Rona, this seems like your sort of situation.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Oh my gosh. I stand in front of Kluge. Like I step in and then I like hold Kluge back. I have to. And do I have oh my gosh. Do I have a weapon? Question mark. Let's see. Okay. Normal.
I think that everyone does have weapons and armor in their options.
Yeah, fine hunting knives, and then also a fine rifle or longbow. Yeah, I whip out one of my fine hunting knives.
Oh yeah, there's also a separate section for weapons and armor if you scroll down a little bit. But if you just want to use the hunting knives, that's fine. All right. So the snake-like symbiote sort of rears back a little. Looks, seems to be looking at you, although you can't detect any eyes. What do you do?
Okay.
Rona, are you holding Kluge back?
I mean, I have one hand like on Kluge's like shoulder or arm, and I'm stepping in front of Kluge. So I don't know what Kluge is doing, but at least I am between this creature and Kluge.
I am waving at it with just one finger. Like I've got my index finger out. I'm like, hi, how are you? Because to me, it looks like a mouse. It looks soft and small and cute.
It's a snake and it looks like a mouse. Is Kluge high off of like those like special weeds?
By the way, the holograms on my arms show like mice running up and down them.
I think that I'm imagining that this thing is, like serpentine but covered in fur of some kind. So, like if you were a creature that's halfway between a cobra and a mouse. So it's not like totally delusional to say it looks mouse-like, uh, even if that's not how others might interpret it.
If you're gonna hold Klutch back, I think Uncle Doctor is going to try to like capture this creature or put it in a container of some kind, the way that you would with like catching a bee in a cup, you know.
Okay.
I wonder if there's any kind of like gear that I can use to make that happen. I'm imagining one of those like long like clamping arms that people use to pick up garbage. I want to like use something that will let me pick this thing up from a distance, without having to get too
Okay.
close to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're going to start at standard effect because, well, actually, you're going to. I guess we need to figure out if there is something that you can use for some to do that.
There's nothing specifically about that. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
this is just Uncle Doctor's like hand sort of telescoping out like Inspector Gadget.
Okay. So I think it's going to be normal effect. You're going to be able to, if you succeed, you'll be able to get a grip on this thing, but that's not going to, permanently contain it.
Right.
Um,
I mostly want to keep it from getting to
yeah.
Kludge and also keep myself from being infested.
Right.
So would you say this sounds like Handle maybe?
Uh, yeah. I guess handle makes sense. Still in a desperate situation.
Okay.
Do you want to push yourself or accept a Lotus Gambit?
I haven't accepted a Gambit yet. I'd like to do that.
Well, I guess I still have the Gambit. The guards arrive outside the door available if you'd like. I think that maybe a less immediate Gambit is that an alarm in here goes off.
I think I like the guards situation.
I got one I can suggest.
Let's hear it.
Regardless of what happens, the symbiote will bond with you.
Well, I think that's a little. See, to me, that seems like it's more like a failure. Like if you grab it and hold it, then it's not bonding with you.
But we've already stipulated it's the arm. It's Uncle Doctor's arm stretching down.
I think that's a good idea, but I think I like the guards more. I think in an action movie that would be exactly what happens here. So,
all right. So that's how many dice are you up to then?
I'm only at 1, but I am going to spend a point of with the Gambit it's at 2, and if it's okay, I'm also going to spend a point of harmony on that if everybody's okay with that. Mostly because I think this is happening like that. This is a sort of snap, like reflex action.
Mark and stress to give you another one.
Will you tell me again, Shane, how I can get to this dice roller? I haven't had that.
I'll post the link. Bear with me.
Please, and thank you.
No worries.
Really came prepared here for the folks at home. All right, so I'm rolling 3 dice. 1, 2, 3. And this is what? Desperate standard?
Desperate standard.
Okay. Can I use one? Can I only roll 2 dice and have it be risky instead?
I think that because you're like running off the engagement roll at the moment, that you're going to have to stick with desperate.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so I'm rolling with 3 dice.
I mean, also you're trying to grab a dangerous serpentine symbiotic creature with your bare hand, so
right.
that feels desperate to me as well.
But I did roll a 6.
Hey, all right, you have it in your hand. It's in your extended hand, a fair way across the room. It's quite slippery. You can tell already. It's wibbling and wobbling and going to get out of your grasp soon. And as you realize that, you hear the guards arrive outside the door. And whoever's in charge yells at them, "All right, this is a very important day. You know who's here. Don't let anyone into this room unless they have the password." And 4, 6, maybe 8 voices ring out, "Yes, sir."
Damn. I think it's also like, as I sort of like start to pay attention to what's going on over there, you can tell me if this is wrong, Shane. I'm just trying to like characterize this creature that I have a grip on. That as I'm like focusing, I can feel it starting to get like kind of like misty or like incoherent. Like it's becoming less solid as I'm not focusing on it. And I Uncle Doctor turns back around to look at it, and it's still just there. But I like the idea of it being like somewhat ethereal.
All right. Rona, Uncle Doctor has grabbed this strange ethereal symbiote snake mouse thing. What are you doing?
What is Kluge doing? Like, I think my main concern is what Kluge is gonna do. So, like, it seems like Uncle Doctor is like kind of getting this under control. So I'm like looking over at Kluge.
Rona, come on, let me pet it. Look at it, it's cute.
You can pet it later, not now.
There are guys outside.
Exactly. We don't
I
have
might
time
not
for
get
that.
another chance to pet it. Besides, it's one of their symbiotes, right?
Clearly, this thing is important to them, so we are definitely not leaving it here. It's coming with us.
Right, and it'll be a lot easier for it to come with us if, I bond with it.
It'll be a lot easier for you to come with us if we don't get caught.
That's why I'm saying we bond with it. Maybe I can even talk us past these guys.
I'm also gonna look in the safe to see if there's anything else in there.
Sure. So you definitely grab an armful of shells and some other documents and things, and we'll figure out exactly what those things are when we do I forget what it's called, the payoff roll in downtime.
The denouement.
Okay. I'll turn to Kluge and I'll say, I give you my word that once we are in relative safety from here, I will let you pet this snake creature
in a controlled environment where we can extricate it if we have to.
All sorts of bright, happy colors and smiley faces start floating up my arms and over my head.
I immediately sigh. I'm going to regret this. I know it.
So, how are you going to get this creature that is becoming less material by the moment out of here?
It does seem a little silly to get it out of one container only to put it into another container.
Right.
Okay, are there any other ways out of the room other than the door? Is there like a vent or something that we could crawl through?
Good question. I feel like we should maybe make that a collecting information roll.
Okay. Well, while we're at it, I don't know if this counts because of the wording of this ability, but one of the sort of inbuilt ability that Uncle Doctor has as a scholar is called curiosity satisfaction. Whenever you come across a historical location or artifact or encounter Radiant Era technology for the first time, I can ask a question about it as though I had rolled a 6 to collect info. Do you think that applies to creatures as well?
I mean, not the creature, but I buy that this is a historical location that you've come across for the first time. It's a building that's over 100 years old. All right. So, as if you rolled, let's see what you get for a 6 on collect info. You find even more than you were looking for. The information might reveal unexpected secrets or opportunities. Definitely ask a follow-up question or two. The GM will give you a good answer. Okay, so I guess that there is, exactly like you said, a vent. The ventilation system accesses this room. If you peel down that grate, you can get out through there. Well, at least you can get out of this room. But obviously, you also are not totally sure where that ventilation shaft leads to.
It's better than the alternative,
All right,
which is
but you
to
still
go
have
out
the
the door
problem
with
that
the 8
that
guards.
thing is about to get out of your grip.
Yeah, true.
Fine. You're not going to let me actually bond with it. Let's at least put it in something appropriate. And I will go ahead and mark an analysis pack.
Mhm.
Because it feels like there should be something in an analysis pack, which includes optical scanners, chemical sensors, analytic software, etc., for scientific analysis, that there should be something as simple as a jar with a cork
Yeah, I
or some
definitely
other
buy
sort of
that.
stopper.
I definitely think that it's going to be another action roll for Uncle Doctor to get the, whirling quasi-ethereal serpentine thing into the jar. Still in a desperate position, probably with handle again, unless there's another ability that you want to use, another action.
I mean, the other one that I can think of, if this is like a transcendent creature, it would be to use tune or something, not necessarily to bond with it, but just to kind of like calm it down a little bit and get it to stop wriggling.
Yeah, I buy that. I mean, I think that the difference is that the consequence is more like if you roll badly, it might bond with you involuntarily against your will.
Whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you're going to use tune?
I think we make a couple. I try once to put it into the jar, and it's too squirrely, and so I have to kind of soothe it a little bit.
All right. So you start with 1 die for tune. Do you want to push yourself or accept a Lotus Gambit?
Do you have anything lined up for a gambit?
Okay, I think that probably the gambit that I would suggest here is that we start a clock for the guards finding you.
I'm a little unclear as to how the sort of the pushing oneself happens.
You describe. I mean, you can describe fictionally how you make that extra effort, and then you mark 2 stress for an extra die.
Okay. I can't just do another thing that I would also do by pushing myself when that happens, right? I couldn't, for example, use my charm sight ability to view the past of a transcendent artifact or location as this is happening. No, I don't. I don't suppose so.
Oh no, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. Sure. In that case, I would like to I'd like to push myself to get an extra die, and to soothe this creature. And as this happens, I want to use some of my internal instruments or other kinds of sensors to build an idea of I don't know, where this creature has been, or I'm trying to get some other kind of information about it, because it's fascinating.
Okay. So you have a vision of this creature's recent past, that it was in some kind of laboratory where there are, many dozens of creatures like this being kept in some sort of, tanks or cages, and that this one managed to escape. How it worked its way from escaping the lab into being in the safe, you're not quite sure, but that's the recent past of this creature.
Out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, and then captured by us. Okay, yeah, I'll roll 2 dice for this June roll. Desperate standard. Ooh.
It's a 3. So
Yeah.
let's see what happens on a 3 on a desperate action. The worst outcome: suffer severe harm, a serious complication, or lose this opportunity. Um, so I think I will offer you the choice of any of those options, and specifically the severe harm, symbiote bonding with the symbiote, which you'll fill in as a severe harm on the sheet, with the consequences to go with that. A serious complication is that the guards come in right now, or a lost opportunity, which is that the symbiote escapes. Which of those will it be?
Oh boy. I think the guards have to come in, right? Like they have to secure the room. They have to like make sure to get ready for whatever sort of VIP is here, right? Somebody comes in to make sure that everything is still the way it is, and of course it isn't.
So if you're taking the serious complication, then I'm happy for that to be in addition to getting the thing in there. So,
Okay.
oh wait, the worst outcome, it seems like it suggests that you don't do it. Is that right? All right. So the symbiote is free. It drops from your hand to the floor. It's wriggling around under your feet. The noise that it makes attracts the attention of the guards, who open the door and step in, look to you and are surprised to see the three of you in here. Well, all of you, but let's, the first guard, I guess, calls out, "Oh, who are you? What's going on?" And one of them notices the safe hanging open. Rona, what were you?
Okay, my question was, so one of my abilities is seventh sense, which is when there's a question about who acts first, the answer is you, and then also I can push, and I also have another ability which is red eyes shining, where I can push myself to act quickly and decisively. So is it possible for me to like act before he speaks?
Yeah, I guess so. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna go and try to like silence this person by like putting a hand over their mouth.
Okay. Probably. Well, what ability would you use for that? What action?
I guess that sounds like skirmish, probably.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that the effects can be limited. Like, you can stop him yelling out immediately, but it's obviously, it's not going to last for that long unless you can do something to follow it up.
Okay, sounds good.
So it looks like you have no dice in skirmish. So do you want to push yourself or accept a Lotus Gambit?
Yeah, I'll push myself.
Okay, so that's 2 stress. That's 1 die. It's not obvious to me how any of your teammates could assist you in putting a hand over this guy's mouth, but if anybody has an idea about how you help.
I could push the door shut behind them.
Yeah.
Like if Rona's going to pull them inside and put a hand over their mouth, I can push the door shut behind them so that they're isolated for a moment.
I mean, Rona's doing this with these like special abilities that let her act first. Like, Rona, does that fit with what you're imagining?
I mean, I feel like the before and after of like when Kluge goes to close a door probably will not like. I don't think that would get in the way of my like ability. Like I'm just fast enough to cover this person's mouth before they speak. But like if Kluge like, yeah. So I guess it's more like it's up to you. Like if you feel like Kluge would be doing that after I'm done doing this, then I guess that help doesn't work.
Yeah, I guess it's not clear to me that necessarily helps with what you're directly trying to do. Do you want to spend harmony for another die?
Spend the harmony.
Oh yeah, we have so many. I'm gonna spend it. Woot woot. Okay, so I have 2 dice. Yeah, that's plenty.
I would not jinx the dice like that.
All right.
That's a 4.
Okay.
So on a desperate roll, what does a 4 get you? You do it with a consequence: severe harm, a serious complication, or reduced effect. Okay, so you do it. You get your hand across his mouth. You're able to silence him so that he's not able to speak. But there's a serious complication, which is that you feel the symbiote running up the leg of your pants. Do you want to resist the consequence?
Of it running up my pants? I mean, I guess that's one way to bring the symbiote out by having it in my clothes.
It's true.
Sure. I'll resist it. No. Wait.
So if you resist, it won't happen. In this case, it'll just completely avoid the consequence. But you roll dice to see how much stress you take for the resistance.
Is the consequence that the creature is like riding on Rona now, or is it that Rona has been bonded?
It definitely hasn't bonded with you yet. It's maybe the consequence is a 4-tick clock to being bonded with the symbiote. With 1 tick.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to resist that, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just writing that in as a clock. We'll pick it once.
Really quickly, since we don't have the symbiote in our possession, do I still have the analysis pack marked?
I guess you haven't really used it, so you can. Well, but you declared that you had it with you, right? So I think that maybe it is still marked.
All right.
Like you tried to use it in the fiction, so I think it needs to stay marked.
Fair.
All right. So Rona, you have your your hand across this guy's mouth. You can feel the symbiote sort of squirreling away. What are you going to do?
And I'm going to look over at Uncle Doctor as the one adult in this room to be like, talk to this person and convince them, while I'm like wiggling, trying to stay still.
I don't think there's any talking to this person. There's no yeah, I don't think that like reason is really gonna like play here. So I'd sooner just like knock the guy out and try to escape.
I mean, if you get into a fight with him, you're in a fight with all of the guards. Unless the plan is to like quickly drag him in here and shut the door and barricade it and then go out through the vents.
Okay.
I mean, that's certainly a plan. It's one more plan than we had before now.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
Well, so the situation? I just want to be clear about the situation. So he's opened the door to see what's happening. He's part of a group of 4 guards that are right outside the door. He hasn't been able to talk, even though he's seen you, because there's a hand over his mouth. But if you start talking to him right now, the other guards are all going to hear. So is that what's happening, or?
Yeah, I guess the door is still open.
Yeah. Like, do you want to drag him inside and try and close the door quietly and then talk to him, or beat him up, or whatever you're going to do? Or dealing with that's what's happening, right? That's kind of what you wanted out of your action roll, really, isn't it? Like, you didn't just want to be standing there with the door. Okay, so you did achieve that, so that's what's happened. So I just needed to clarify that. So he's inside, the door's closed. it will not be long before the 3 guards notice that one of them is missing. So that's going to be a problem very soon. But you've got a minute to either talk to him or knock him out or whatever you're going to try and do.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to him, and I'm gonna say, "Shh! Don't spook it. This is, like gesturing to the symbiote that's like running around on Rona now. You can't spook it. This is such a pivotal part of the process. If we agitate the creature now, it won't bond properly."
All right. Well, it sounds like you're making a bluff roll.
Yeah, not that Uncle Doctor's any good at that. If I push myself now, I will cap out on stress.
Mm-hmm. Should we talk about what happens when you max out your stress?
Well, I'll be taken out of the scene, right? And I'll gain some kind of quirk later.
I am not totally sure how that works.
That's the way it works in Blades anyway.
Yeah. When you mark your last stress box, you're overloaded. When you're overloaded, you're knocked out, lost, or otherwise unable to act effectively in the current scene. You'll return later in the mission, shaken and drained with 0 stress, and develop a quirk. So yeah.
I wonder if that means like letting myself get captured so that you guys can escape.
Well, I mean, I guess that seems like it's a whole different plan. If you want to run outside and get yourself captured to distract those other guards, you can do that. But it's probably a different action role than trying to talk to this guy.
Okay, well then let's go back to square one.
Okay.
Then I'm trying to do this. I don't have any dice in bluff.
I mean, I definitely push myself to help you.
So that'll give you 1 die.
Okay. Thank you, by the way.
Sorry, I'm just noticing that I haven't been checking off the harmony as you used it. So you've used 2 harmony so far, so you have 3 harmony left. That can get you a die. You want to spend another harmony?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, 2 harmony left. Do you want to talk about Lotus Gambits?
Yeah, and I assume at this point that means like a clock until the rest of the guards realize what's going on and come in force, right?
Yeah, I'll offer that as a Lotus Gambit if you want. I think that I would also, well, no, I won't do that. I was going to say that I could tick the clock towards the symbiote bonding with Rona, but it seems like that should be Rona's decision. Yeah. Does anyone else have a Lotus Gambit to suggest?
My Lotus Gambit is that this guard recognizes Uncle Doctor.
Oh. Interesting. Like the guard is someone from Lachlan?
Uncle Doctor's been around for a while.
Or maybe they've just met Uncle Doctor before, but they'll know that it's Uncle Doctor who's like taking part in this.
There'll be some loose ends leading back to Lachlan if that's the case.
Yeah, maybe even some emotional complications between this person and Uncle Doctor.
Does Uncle Doctor date or have anything?
This is exactly where my mind went as well.
I don't.
Is this a former partner of Uncle Doctor's?
I'll accept that. Are you going to tell me who this person is to me, or?
Well, if we're saying it's your ex, then I think that the 2 ways that could work for me are that it's either someone who would really like to get their relationship with Uncle Doctor back together again, or someone that you had a very acrimonious breakup with who is immediately hostile?
I
Wait.
don't think that Uncle Doctor dates.
Okay.
I think that Uncle Doctor is really a shade of a person.
Oh,
I mean, that doesn't
gosh.
mean Uncle Doctor couldn't date. I mean, there
I
are
would-
plenty of people.
I would, if we're going with this, I would say something like, this is somebody from Lachlan who Uncle Doctor helped to raise,
Oh yeah, I love that.
and has since like gone astray.
Yeah. So they moved away from. Can we give this person a name?
Yeah. Yeah. Her name is Ariadne.
Beautiful. Ariadne. You remember now that when she, left Lachlan for the big city, she had been kind of weirdly curious about the hand of the cocoon, but you never, thought she would take it this far. So it seems like you're accepting this Lotus Gambit, that this is a person that you knew.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's let's roll the dice and we'll see how it turns out.
Okay. So this is what? How many? Three dice now.
So you've got
one point of harmony,
so,
one from the assist, and one from the.
Yeah, I think that's right.
From the thing. Okay.
Still a desperate action with standard effect.
Man, we really live on the edge. That's an abject failure. Total failure.
Well, we will come back after a short break and find out what happens there. So we'll come back just about 10 minutes past the hour, if that's good for everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Great to have you here, Ian.
While we're waiting, I just want to say that while we were on the break, I was scrolling through Facebook and saw an ad for the Apocalypse Keys Kickstarter, which looks really cool. So I'm super psyched for that game. I just watched the second Hellboy movie the other day, and I'm really psyched to be able to do that kind of stuff in games.
Yeah, I ran some Apocalypse Keys last year. It was really awesome. I guess she's back. All right. So
I know why Ariadne would not have believed Uncle Doctor even if he weren't bluffing, because before she left her hometown, before she left Lachlan, we had a big fight. I was telling her that she was going astray, and that she was throwing away these sort of friendships and relationships. She, in typical whippersnapper fashion, it's you can't control me. I'm going to go make my own life. She went and joined a cult.
So the consequence that you're facing for your action roll is the severe harm, which in this case is not physical harm, like child gone astray.
That's heartbreak, right?
Yeah. You can resist that, reducing it down to just modest harm. I forget what the levels of harm are called. To a level 1 harm rather than a level 3 harm. But you'll need to roll dice to see how much stress you mark if you do that.
I will try. This probably isn't kinesis that I'd be resisting with, right? It'd be either analysis or semiosis. But I would be remiss not to say that if I do resist and I don't roll high enough, there's a significant chance that Uncle Doctor is just taken off the board right now. So, because I'll cap out on stress.
Yeah. All right. I think it's probably semiosis.
Yeah. Let's see if the old emotional intelligence protocols have been updated, and Uncle Doctor's OS.
All right, so you're going to suffer 6 stress minus the highest die result. So you need a 5 or better not to be taken out.
Okay. Rolling 2 dice. Here we go. I rolled 4.
Amazing.
Oh man, I couldn't write it. I couldn't write it any better.
All right. So you do just still take the level 1 harm, child astray, parental heartbreak, however you want to phrase that. Meaning that anytime you take an action that would impact, that would be relevant for, you're going to have less impact, which is less effect. But I think the taken out is just that, like, presumably it's that you're emotionally overwhelmed by the realization, right? Like, what does that look like for Uncle Doctor?
I think that Uncle Doctor being a robot, and having kind of inherited some of his personality and memories from his creator, means that he has a kind of disjointed grasp on time. He does not perceive linear time the way that like other people do, because he can just go back and like access memories whenever he wants. And I think that as this is happening, I mean, maybe not exactly in this way, but I think that this is not the first time that Uncle Doctor has like seen one of his charges. They're not his biological children, but like one of the people who he has basically pledged his life to raising and protecting, seen them go wrong, or and not be able to do anything to like protect them or bring them back into the fold. And as this is happening, something like something short circuits in his positronic cortex, and he is experiencing every time that this is happening simultaneously.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so her face, like Ariadne's face, is like, like that really weird scene in Blade Runner 2049 where two people are kind of like overlapping. I think that Ariadne's face is like overlapping with all the other like memories of wayward children, basically. Wayward youths. I don't know what this looks like fictionally, Shane. You might need to tell me that, but
well, I think that it's clear to Rona and Kluge that you're shut down. Like, whatever's going on, Uncle Doctor is just taking a moment, frozen up. Ariadne screams, "Intruders! Intruders!" And you hear the guards outside start to bang on the door as they try and break it open. You also hear.
Does she remember me?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it's deliberate on her part.
I mean, she knows that you're intruders, but also she's glaring at you, remembering that last big fight. And you also hear this tremendous bellowing noise coming from somewhere deep below you, like some sort of enormous creature. Somewhere below you in this building. Rona and Kluge, it's only going to be it's not going to be long before those guards get that door down. What are you doing?
Agatha, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm gonna drop this person who I don't know their name, and pull Uncle Doctor along and say to Kluge, "Run! We gotta run!" And then I'm like going and like tugging at that vent.
All right, into the vent. Kluge, are you going along?
I'm grabbing that symbiote and putting it in a jar.
Well, it's somewhere inside Rona's clothes at the moment.
I thought it was on her
stoically
clothes.
Trying to ignore it.
It's definitely coming along. I mean, if you want to stop here and try and get it out, you can do that, but the guards will get in before you get out of the room if that's the case.
Huh. Well, we've got a little bit before it bonds with Throna, right?
Sure. Got a good few ticks before you need to worry about that.
That's just a problem for like 2 ticks from now. Kludge to worry about. Yeah, I'll dive into the
All
vent.
right. So I think we probably want an action roll to see like how quickly you get into the vent or what sort of a head start you get on the guards. Rona, since you're going first and dragging Uncle Doctor, which probably makes this harder for you than it is for Kludge, do you want to make an action roll?
Yes. And oh, darn it, I didn't take the ability Mother Duck because that would have Mother Duck is when you lead a group Wayfair, Shadow, or Trace. Well, hindsight 2020.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
feel
It
like
probably is a group
I'm
action, isn't it?
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized that you're right that it's a group action.
Right. So I think I'll be leading that group action, but only with Kludge, right? Because Uncle Doctor is no longer in this.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So what action are you using for the roll?
Let's see. I feel like it's Wayfair because one of the descriptions for Wayfair is traverse unfamiliar terrain, and I don't think we're actually trying to be secretive right now. We're like scrambling into a vent and just trying to go as fast as we can. So that sounds like a Wayfair.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So I think it's still a desperate action. The effect is probably limited. Like you can get away from them, but you are like, the whole complex is soon going to know that you're in here. So you're getting yourself a reprieve, but you're not exactly getting away. And that means that you and Kluge are both going to make a Wayfair roll. So why don't you start with yours first,
Okay.
Rona?
Let's see. I have 2. No, let's see. Act quickly or decisively. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just. Excuse me. Oh, I would love to hear a Lotus Gambit.
A Lotus Gambit. I mean, the Lotus Gambit could be that the vent is going to come out wherever that bellowing creature was. Does anyone else want to suggest?
Because Rona's dragging Uncle Doctor, it slows her down, and we add a tick to that bonding clock.
Oh yeah, a tick on the bonding clock for sure. I would offer that as a Lotus Gambit.
I mean, I'll take either.
Well, you got to pick.
Puckett is corrupting me.
I wouldn't call it corruption. I would say it's suggesting you to make perhaps more interesting choices.
Yeah, I would call that corruption. Okay. Okay, so
kind of
question about like yeah, so question about that bonding clock. Like, what does it mean for it to be bonded to Rona?
Oh, you definitely do not know that.
That sounds fun too. I'm gonna go with that because yeah, but it's also so cool to see this dangerous creature.
I'm sure that's still on the table.
That's true. That's true. We have a lot more chances for bonus gambits and or failures.
That's true. All right. So does that mean that you want to take a tick on the bonding clock?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. So how many dice does that give you?
That gives me 3.
All right. I don't think you can take an assist because it's a group action anyway.
I could be pushing.
Well, we'll get you to roll separately in a sec,
Sure thing.
Kludge. Do you want to spend harmony, or are you just going to roll 3 dice?
No, I'm gonna roll 3.
All right, that's a 6.
Whew.
So, Kludge, you are going to also roll a Wayfair action because it's part of the group thing.
Sure
You
thing.
are going to the group is going to succeed regardless. But if your best die is a 1 to 3, then Rona's going to take stress as the action leader.
Okay, I have 1 die in Wayfair. So, what kind of
Well,
Lotus Gambits are?
I
on the
mean,
table?
the vent comes out with that bellowing creature is definitely still on the table.
Ooh,
Does anyone else want to suggest a Lotus Gambit?
I do love a bellowing creature.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, you're gonna accept that one?
Agatha, are you okay with that?
Of course. I wanted
right.
that one too.
Bellowing creature it is. So there's 2 dice. I will push myself as well. So
You can't push yourself and accept a Lotus Gambit. It's one or
that's
the
right.
other.
All right. Yeah. So bellowing creature it is. That's okay because it leaves me with more stress. It leaves me with more stress for the whatchamathinger. And then we can spend harmony, correct?
You can. If everyone, I mean, I probably would recommend that you don't use it for this because the consequences aren't very serious in a group action where someone's already succeeded. But if you want, you can spend a harmony.
Yeah. I'll just roll. What's the worst that could happen, right? Look at that,
question.
a 6 and a 5.
Did I generate a harmony? Because it's
yeah, you do generate harmony when you roll a 6 on a desperate action, don't you?
Ooh.
Yeah, in general, I think we all do, right?
Yes.
So that means there should be another one on there.
Let me just double check that that's the rule, but I think that's right. Thanks for that reminder.
Right,
you
I
gain
think
1
I
harmony
rolled
when you
one of
roll
those
6
earlier.
or crit on a desperate action or a teamwork maneuver. Yeah. Okay, so we'll say that you've, like between that and Ian's earlier roll, we're going to add 3 harmony.
And are you including the open sesame roll that I did in Dice History? That was to get the safe open?
You got that one as well? That was a 6?
Yeah, there was a, let's see. So since the engagement roll in the previous session, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
Sixes.
So I've added 4 harmony. The harmony flower is almost full, so do feel free to like spend harmony at this point.
Dang, playing at desperate is not bad.
And just to clarify, wait, Puckett, did you roll, or I guess did Kluge roll? Did you use a harmony just now, or
Nope.
No.
Oh,
but we are going to be finding a bellowing creature, so
it's true. We're really going to need it.
We might. Maybe it's friendly.
So you scramble through the vent. Behind you, not too quickly, but behind you, you do hear the sound of the door being like crashed through, opened up. The guards getting into that room that you were just in and finding the safe open. You're moving too fast. You're in too much of a rush to really like try and navigate or figure out where you're going in this place. So before too long, you've headed down a level or 2, and you push out through a grate. You've pretty much come to the end of the line, and you're going to have to emerge in this room. And as you come out in this sort of dark corner behind some laboratory equipment of some kind, you again hear that tremendous bellow of something that now is quite close to you. You can smell it as well, a dirty animal smell. You can't quite see from the position that you're in, but you'll be able to see it fairly soon. Since we've moved to a new scene, I think that Uncle Doctor is back with us. Being dragged and dropped through the ventilation shafts has brought you back with your stress track cleared. You're muted.
Maybe the smell wakes him back to awareness.
Uncle Doctor's sort of overactive olfactory senses. All right. So the 3 of you are sort of huddled in this corner. I think by now there's also an alarm going off, somewhere in the building. You can hear people anxious in the room that you're in now, talking to each other about what's going on. Rona, you got into the room first. What are you doing?
I am surveying the room for potential dangers and also for a way out. of the room that we just came into.
All right. So, do you want to roll to collect information?
Yeah, I would like
See
to
how
do
much
that.
you find out.
And that's just like a normal action roll, right? Or
So it's
really remember.
like a normal action roll, but you're not worried about the consequences so much. We're just figuring out how much information you get.
Okay.
Actually, you probably don't even need to because you're just looking around, right? You poke your head out for a sec. People are distracted enough that they won't notice you. What you see is that you're in a kind of long, large room. There's a door at the other end that looks like it's the main way out of here. The one wall is lined with tanks of these symbiote creatures. The one, when Uncle Doctor had that vision of this symbiote escaping earlier, you see now that there are many, many, many of these creatures in their tanks lined up along the wall. Across the other side of the room is the bellowing creature. I think that you've probably never seen anything quite like this before. It is enormous. It is grey. It has a thick, leathery skin. It is the first time that you've ever seen an elephant. And it's in a small enclosure, but it doesn't look like the enclosure would hold it for too long if it got too exercised. Definitely not a baby elephant.
Oh no. Dude. I feel like, oh no, it's in a small enclosure. I feel like I would feel bad. Just like I, as the player, have been corrupted by a Puckett, I think Rona, the character, has also been corrupted by Kluge in terms of empathy. So I have an item that I brought up last time, which is a wildlife charm. It's a small device that emits an energy which catches the attention of local creatures and spirits. I can modulate the frequency to attract or banish, but I have no control over what I bring in or push away.
I mean, that is going to tick your symbiote clock so much. Like, not so much in the sense of it's going to put a lot of ticks on it, but like whatever else it does, it's definitely advancing that clock. But what? Yeah, you just want to like blow on this thing and see what happens.
Like, what I want to do is to like help them escape. Because now I feel bad for them. Because I had such long and involved conversations with Kluge about like where creatures would want to live and like why we shouldn't bring them out of their natural environments. And I'm like, none of these creatures are in their natural environments. They can't be happy.
Add to that an elephant could serve as a pretty good distraction, I feel.
So, did we define like what the wildlife charm looks like or how it works? Like, is it like a whistle or is it a remote control? Is it a little device? What does it look like?
I wonder if it's like is it like a smartwatch or like a pair of glasses or something? Like, I feel like this wildlife charm is probably like radiant tech. So it's something like Rona never wears glasses, but you put on like glasses to do this specifically.
All right. I mean, I don't think you need an action roll for this. If you mark that device, like it says that it will just banish, like cause wildlife to flee from you. We already set up that the enclosure wouldn't contain the elephant if it was trying to get away. So you can definitely just set the elephant free and have it cause some havoc.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. Okay, I don't know if I'm drawing it to me or pushing it away though, because I can control that. I just can't control what I bring in or push away.
I
I
mean,
feel
you can
like
talk to the others about it if you want.
yeah, I'm gonna look at Kluge briefly and then turn to Uncle Doctor. um, and I'm just gonna tell you, Uncle Doctor, that I have this charm, and then I take out my glasses and put it on my face, and I'm saying either bring all the creatures in, or I can push them away. Which switch should I go for?
Uncle Doctor is still kind of like shaking the fog out of his head. And just so that I don't forget it for later, because I'm supposed to pick up a quirk when I cap out on stress.
I think we do that at our next downtime.
Okay, well then I'll save it until then. I think he considers it for a moment, and he says, "Well, it seems as some of these people have bonded with these creatures," and he gestures to where the symbiotic creature is still rustling around, like under the collar of your jacket or something. And Uncle Doctor says, "If we bring them to us, won't that let them, the ones who are bonded, know where we are?"
Oh, that's true. We can't have that.
What do you mean we can't have that? We could free the symbiotes.
Well, we can free them by pushing them out of here as well.
But what about this baby?
Are you pointing at the elephant?
I am.
Kluge, that's not a baby. That's an adult creature.
How do you know it's an adult? You don't even know what it is. It could be a baby. It might get bigger.
That would present its own set of challenges, Kluge.
It's in a pen, right?
Yeah, it's in some kind of enclosure.
Do we see an obvious way to open the enclosure?
I mean, you can see that there's like a. Yeah, I mean, if you were to walk up to it, you would be able to open it, but not without drawing attention from the people in the room.
Oh, there are people here too. Okay.
Yeah, there are some scientists or technicians of some kind behind some consoles at the far end.
Can I sneak over there?
Like, it's a big open space, so I don't really think that you can.
Okay. I kind of want to just run over there and like open the enclosure. And is there anything on the elephant?
Anything
Like
on the
like a
elephant?
saddle or anything that I could grab onto to ride?
I can't turn that down. Yeah, it has some sort of like odd, like not a saddle, but there's some sort of like
It's got like a harness or something, right?
harness or straps arranged around its head.
All right.
Kids these days.
I got to do it, right?
All right.
Agatha, this is like, we can't pass this up, can we?
I mean, you could definitely like. I'm thinking like, okay, Kluge runs towards that elephant, and then like I will activate the wildlife charm after you do your thing.
Okay. So you run. So Kluge, tell us about what's happening. You're running out to the enclosure, throwing open the door, and climbing on the elephant. Is that the plan?
Yeah, and the holograms on my arms and around my body are just showing elephants marching up and down in formation.
Or whatever they are, these strange creatures.
These strange creatures.
The scientists are surprised and alarmed to see someone covered in holograms running towards their elephant while these alarms ring out. But certainly you can get to the enclosure, you can open it up. Whether you can mount the elephant is a different question. So that's where I think the action roll comes in.
I do feel like that is indeed a roll.
What action do you want to roll?
Handle says handle the controls of a mount or vehicle.
Yeah, that sounds right. All right. I think
So there's
that
one.
jumping onto an elephant does seem pretty desperate to me. So I
Doesn't
think
it,
we're
though?
still a desperate action.
Okay.
What I guess, like, let's clarify what's going to happen if you succeed here. Like, you're trying to just get on top. You're trying to, like, assume control of the way it's going to move. Like, what are you trying to do?
Well, I would kind of like to use it as an escape vehicle. Like we could straight up bust out of this compound and like ride the elephant to safety and then turn it loose someplace. Like I'm talking about clear out of the city.
Okay, I don't think you can ride the elephant out of the city, but I think you can ride it out of the compound. I
Okay.
think that would be great effect by itself.
Okay.
Like, if it works, the others can, like, jump up with you if they're willing to do that and get, like, safely free of the compound.
Okay.
All right. So desperate, great. How many dice do you have in handle?
I have a whopping 1.
Well, do you want to push yourself or accept a Lotus Gambit?
I would love to hear Lotus Gambits.
I guess
can
it doesn't
somebody-
really
can
make
somebody
sense that
help?
the elephant's mother is close by. Sorry, Uncle Doctor, what did you say?
Can somebody help?
Well, we'll talk about assist in a sec, but let's see if there's going to be a Lotus Gambit first.
Okay.
I mean, I wonder if the Lotus Gambit. I don't know if this is good or not. Maybe the Lotus Gambit is that you, like, diving onto this elephant, regardless of whether you make it or not, you're going to mark yourself with its scent. Like, you're going to get so much of its scent on you that you're going to be, like, detectable by smell until you're able to clean yourself up.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a Lotus Gambit to suggest?
Provided that this is something that goes off one way or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the role is to see whether we're on the elephant when it makes it out of the compound, right? So whether we're on the elephant or not, I can't imagine that an agitated creature of this size and weight that has been penned up for so long would be particularly gentle with the surrounding area. So maybe we will, like, catch some heat with, I don't know, like a faction that's here in, what did you name the city? Iron something?
It's called
Iron
Iron Harbour.
Yeah.
I think maybe another Lotus Gambit could be that you, like, lose your pack or something like that, Cluj. So you go down from heavy to light load.
It's pretty hard to scoop those things up when you're on top of an elephant.
Exactly.
What was the first one you said, Shane?
Well, I think that my first one was the most boring. Let's not
stench.
go back to that. Yeah.
You know, it would make sense, though.
If you want to be marked with the elephant stench, then I'm okay with that. As a Lotus Gambit.
Holograms
like an
turning to,
elephant.
like, visible stink lines coming off of you.
All right. Marked with the scent of the elephant it is.
All right. Uncle Doctor, were you going to try and assist?
Sure. Yeah. I think that as you sort of, like, set out across the floor of this laboratory, Uncle Doctor and Rona are, like, looking at each other like, I can't believe that he's doing this. I can't believe that this is happening. And Uncle Doctor has this.
Rona is not looking at Uncle Doctor and being like, can't believe she's doing this. Rona is seething with worry and rage.
Rona's just surprised that I didn't do it before now.
Right. Uncle Doctor and Rona both are looking at Kluge as she crosses the laboratory, filled with worry and dread. But Uncle Doctor just had a moment where someone who he was ostensibly in charge of ran off and got themselves into a great deal of trouble. And if somebody's going to do that again, he's not going to let them do that without his help. So as Kluge gets to the elephant and is like, "Oh my God, this thing is way taller than I thought it was," she turns around to see Uncle Doctor there, and he's got his hands like this, ready to like boost
Amazing.
Kluge up.
So Uncle Doctor mark 1 stress. Oh, sorry, is it? Yeah, 1 stress.
So
So that's,
just to be clear, I cleared my stress when I
yeah, that's
okay,
right.
Cool.
All right, and then that's an extra die for you, Kluge. And do you want to spend
3.
harmony as well?
Oh, we've got so much harmony. Yeah.
So harmonious.
Yeah. So that's 4.
That's your max, I think. It's a 5. So on a 5 on a desperate action, you do it with a consequence: severe harm, a serious complication, or reduced effect. So Rona, do you end up on this elephant as well? Because they are, like we said, great effect. They are going to get out of here with this. I wonder if you're with them or not.
I kind of feel like it was going to be a no, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because,
so
yeah,
what do you do?
I think I'm like, I will activate the wildlife charm to release everyone, like all the other like symbiotic creatures as well.
Okay, and you're like pushing them away or pulling them towards you?
Yes, I'm pushing
Away.
them away. That's why I'm not coming.
All right. So in that case, the serious complication is just going to be that you get split up, I think, that you're separated. That the other 2 of you get away, that the elephant is crashing through the walls of this compound, through the external wall, out into the city, causing all kinds of havoc and damage, and people are scattering and running for their lives. And meanwhile, Rona is still huddled behind the bank of computer equipment in the laboratory.
Wait, she's got all the loot.
While some like head scientist declaims like, "Oh no, they've taken our elephant. What are we gonna do now?" So Rona, what are you gonna do now?
I'm gonna like, that is the perfect distraction for me to sneak out another.
Okay.
If there's another way.
Yeah, I mean, there's just the one way in and out of the room, I guess. But the scientists are like, well, I guess they're pretty distracted by trying to scoop up all the symbiotes that are like squirming across the floor since their pens, their tanks have shattered. So you can definitely try and bolt out of here without being noticed. Or are you trying to do it without being noticed, or just running?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to do it without being noticed.
All right. What action do you want to roll for that?
I think that's definitely shadow.
Oh yeah. Cool. How many dice do you have in that?
I have 2.
All right. Do you want to push yourself or accept a Lotus Gambit?
I would love to hear a Lotus Gambit.
All right. So I just want to be clear. I said that I would tick the clock if you use the wildlife charm. So that's already happened, and you're sitting on 3 of 4 ticks before the symbiote bonds with you. So the Lotus Gambit that I will offer is the 4th tick.
I'm gonna take it because I realized that actually the Kestrel is supposed to have like a hunting pet thing or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like that actually makes sense. Like I completely forgot about that before, but then it would make sense that I would have something bonded to me.
Yeah. So I mean, you feel this thing sort of starting to merge with you somehow. I'm not sure whether it merge. It's somewhat ethereal, so it's as much psychic as physical. How does Rona feel as she realizes that's happening?
Like super uncomfortable. It feels like I think it feels like someone is just like blowing a breath in the back of your neck, like constantly, that kind of like weird tingling sensation where it's just like something is touching me, but I can't, like, it's not.
Oh, like when you see a bug and then you feel bugs on your skin.
Yeah, it's like a phantom touch kind of feeling.
Yeah.
All right. So
Sorry for
that
putting that
brings you up to
in the heads of whoever is watching this. I really apologize.
that brings you up to 3 dice. There's no one around who can assist you. Do you want to spend harmony?
Oh yeah, I do.
All right.
Since we have so many. Should I uncheck that from the harmony tree?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Flower. Okay, so that gives me 4.
That sounds right.
Okay. Roll.
A 6.
Oh my gosh.
Get back in there, Harmony.
And I think that gets you maybe back to the sewers. Like, is that how you're going to try and get out? You sneak past everyone back down into the sewers?
Yeah, there's a lot of me like sliding along walls and like trying to be quiet. And then this furry snake like winds around and I'm trying to ignore it.
All right. And you drop down into the sewers. The water pools around your ankles. Do we think that the 3 of you had a plan about a place that you would all meet up if you got separated, or is that too much planning for the Seagulls?
I don't think Rona would have let us go if we hadn't had a plan like that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
We could. Do you want us to do like a flashback to be like, yeah, we definitely did that?
Yeah, that's right. The flashback, I guess, is the mechanic for that. So, does somebody want to tell us? Well, do any of you want a flashback to establish that you had a safe house?
I can do a flashback.
So you're going to mark stress based on like the sort of complexity of the safe house that you want to set up. So what's the safe house look like?
Okay, so what kind of complexity are we talking? Like, is it how many dice or stress are we talking about in terms of complexity and what it gets us?
Yeah, good question. So 0 stress is an ordinary action for which you had easy opportunity. 1 stress is a complex action or unlikely opportunity, and 2 or more stress is an elaborate action that involves special opportunities or contingencies. So 0 stress is like you have a meeting place, but it's not at all, secure, or people would probably find you there pretty easily. 1 stress is something that is a little bit up from that. A place that's easy to defend and hard for them to find is probably 2 or more.
I don't think Rona would have let us have a place that was not easy to defend and hard to find and so on. So I will mark 2 stress.
All right. And do you want to tell us what it looks like? Is that, a hotel room or?
You're probably the one who fortified it, right? You're the scrapper.
So it's less a hotel room and more the top floor of a hotel. And we basically just kind of finessed the log so it shows that it's occupied. Probably the cult has it occupied. And, well, we really just set up shop there. There's traps and there's resupply stuff. There's a real nice bathroom, which I'm taking immediate advantage of. In fact, when Rona gets back, I'm walking out of there drying my hair. But
hang on, you're going to have to get back to the safe house before we get.
We've got to roll for it. Sneaky. Okay, but yeah, it's a really nice safe house.
Beautiful. All right. So, Kluge and Uncle Doctor, the elephant, busted you out of that compound, but it can't navigate you all the way across the city. It's starting to slow down. It can't fit through some of the laneways and roads and things like that. It's also,
I mean,
of course,
furthermore,
drawing an immense amount of attention.
it's be really easy to track.
Yeah, you're literally leaving a trail for people to follow. Do you dismount, Kluge, or what do you do?
I want to make sure we've reached a point where we can drop off with nobody seeing us, presumably because they've all run inside terrified at whatever the heck this thing is rampaging through the city. So we can just like kind of slide off and smack it on the flank and watch it go.
I mean, I like it's a pretty big, busy city. I don't necessarily think there's going to be anywhere that there's going to be no one who would have seen you.
Okay.
But you can find somewhere relatively quiet.
Can we climb up onto a rooftop as we go by?
Yeah, I reckon a group action to jump up onto a rooftop as you pass.
Sure.
What action would you use for that?
I feel like that's Wayfair.
All right. You're probably leading the action. So again, both of you are going to roll. The best roll is going to be the outcome. And Kluge will mark 1 stress if Uncle Doctor rolls a 1 to 3.
I'm rolling 2 dice and taking the worst.
All right. So what about Love's Gambit?
Well, okay. So I think that let's say that we're into a risky action now. You've at least gotten out of the compound, so we're going to reduce the dangerousness of the position. Risky action with standard effect. Wayfair. You asked about a Lotus Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
There's something. Well, wait. I was going to say there's something on the roof that could also be a problem, but we don't even know if you're going to make it onto the roof yet. So I guess that's premature.
So I accidentally clicked roll, and because I was going to just hit return, and it rolled a 5.
You want to just sit with your 5?
Yeah, let's just sit with the 5.
All right. So in that case, Uncle Doctor, what are you going to do? You already succeeded with a minor consequence, or not minor. I forget what it is for. Just a consequence. Harm, a complication, reduced effect, or your position becomes desperate.
I think Uncle Doctor's just gonna roll. I think he's not in. I think he's still not like entirely there, yeah, Kluge is basically like pulling him along, like she's got him by the hand, like, hey, we need to get out of here. We need to get off this creature, and he is his head is still in the clouds. So I'm just going to roll these 2 dice and take the worst.
Are you going to roll harmony?
I'll take 1 for the harmony. So it's just the 1 die then. Yeah.
And also, like, if you were to roll low, it's not you who will take the consequence, it's Kluge.
Yeah.
Well, the consequence is just going to be 1 stress. That's all it can be.
Right, if I fail, right. Which I did.
All right. So Kluge is going to mark 1 stress. You're both going to have a consequence. But we're just about at the top of the hour, so let's take a 10-minute break and we'll come back and find out what the consequence is going to be.
Also, I'm curious. I'm sitting on 5 stress. Do you remember how I got up to 5?
I have no idea. I don't think you cleared any stress between the 2 schemes, so it could be from our first.
Well, there were 2 withstanding, so I know I just notched 1. So I'm basically just asking where the other 2 came from.
You might have pushed yourself.
Yeah, I think I did.
I'm not sure.
That sounds right.
Cool. All right. So Rona, you've dropped down into the sewers. It's a different part of the sewers than the way you got into the compound in the first place. But you think that you can navigate your way back from here. I mean, especially as a kestrel, it's kind of your thing, right? I mean, not normally the sewers, but finding your way.
Yeah.
But you also notice that there is some sort of strange, transcendent runoff being dumped into the sewers here from, or that has been, from the laboratory that you were, where the elephant was being kept. There are some strange funguses growing on the walls, things that you haven't seen before. The sewage itself has a strange, unnatural color or glow to it. What do you do?
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect samples of all these, like the fungi, the runoff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have, let's see. I have an analysis pack that probably will include.
Yeah, I'm sure that has like something you can use to take samples in it.
So like as I go, I'm like thinking of various people back in Lachlan who would be interested in things like this.
Mhm. Cool.
I am not personally interested in researching it, but I feel like it at this point it's probably like habit for Rona because like
Mhm.
probably like I probably end up bringing things back a lot, and then yeah, like Kluge, of course.
Yeah. Or I mean, there's the research collective that you're friends with. Cool. So, having collected your samples, do you head back to the safe house, or do you assume that Kluge and Uncle Doctor, having just crashed through the city on an runaway elephant, might need your help and try and find them?
I think I go back to the actually
Okay.
because I feel like even though Kluge is not very reliable in terms of creatures, Kluge is more reliable in terms of her own safety. And then Uncle Doctor is reliable in general. So
All right. So in that case, Kluge and Uncle Doctor, you successfully jump from the elephant to a rooftop, but there is a complication. Um, Uncle
I
Doctor,
mean,
one,
we don't have an
one.
elephant anymore. That's a complication.
Some would say that that makes things less complicated. Um, Uncle Doctor, one thing that we didn't cover in the recap is that part of this plan was to try and engineer a distraction for the Hand of the Cocoon by provoking or tricking Tango Foxtrot, the smugglers, into attacking the compound while you were in there. And as you jump onto this roof, you see that there are a good dozen Tango Foxtrot goons, agents, with binoculars and thing and ranged weaponry and things like that standing around, and they do not look happy to see the two of you jump into their secret location. Either of you are welcome to resist the consequence. That will reduce the number of agents, but it won't mean that there's none there. Do either of you want to resist, or what do you do?
And what's resistance? How do we do that?
So you just tell me you want to do that. We'll say that instead of a dozen of them, there's like 3 of them. It's just an observation post. You roll a number of d6s based on the points you have in, let's see, maybe analysis for this.
If I resist it, does that mitigate the consequence for both of us?
Because it's like a narrative consequence, I think it must, right? Like there's 12 of them or there's 3 of them. So if one of you resists it, it mitigates it for you both.
Okay, then I'll resist because I just cost Kluge a stress.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Puckett?
How many dice do you have in analysis?
2.
Okay. So there really wouldn't be any difference between you resisting and me resisting it.
I don't think so.
Well, also Uncle Doc has less stress, so that's what you're
Okay.
rolling for, to find out how much stress
Sure.
it costs.
Okay, so I don't get any like extra bonus things for this, right? It's just the 2 dice.
That's right.
Okay.
Can you roll? Can you add harmony?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I can double check if you want.
As you do that, I think that this is like scroll back 30 seconds, and this is Uncle Doctor being like, no, wait, not that rooftop. Wait, because they're all covered in, they're all swarming with guys, I imagine. But
Yeah, I don't think that you can add harmony to a resistance roll.
okay, so I'll just roll these two. Big money, no whammies.
All right, so you're taking 3 stress.
3 stress.
And there are just 3 of these Tango Foxtrot agents on the roof. They're looking still in some shock and disarray at the fact that an elephant just crashed out of the building that they've been casing. And now 2 people have jumped onto the roof. You are unpopular with Tango Foxtrot.
I would like to decipher what their true intent is.
I think you can just tell that. You don't need to.
Okay.
I don't think you need to roll for that one. Like, they're here because you had kind of engineered this situation where they'd believe that Jack was working for the Hand of the Cocoon, and that they're here to, try and get him back or retaliate against the Hand of the Cocoon for getting involved in their business.
Okay. In that case, and if you'd like me to roll before talking to them so we know how it's going to go, if you'd like me to roll after talking to them so we can see how poorly it went.
What are you going to try? What's the plan to try and convince them, or of what?
Okay, so I recognize that they're Tango Foxtrot, correct?
Yeah, they have, uniforms of some kind.
See, okay, so listen. We just busted out of there. You've got a clear way in. Everything is chaotic in there. They don't know who's coming. They don't know who's going. I mean, they had an elephant in there. It was awesome.
Right, yeah, like, now's your chance, right? Like, there's a big...
I mean, you can totally raid the place, and it's just so bonkers in there that no one would know the difference.
All right.
We totally set it up for you.
So yeah, I think that you probably need to. Well, what would you roll for this?
I'm thinking that this would probably be something like command or connect or tune, or a connector command.
I don't think it's command. Persuade from a position of genuine belief. It feels more like bluff to me, because what you're trying to bluff them about isn't so much the facts as that they're not like your sworn enemies, right?
Okay. Honestly, it's all the same because I have 0 everything.
Okay.
So,
well, in that case, I think you're trying to bluff.
All right. So that's 2d6 to start with, and I take the worst one, correct?
That's right.
Now, if we spend harmony on it, I can spend harmony on this?
Yeah.
That means I have 1 die, correct?
That's right.
What about a Lotus Gambit?
Does anyone want to suggest a Lotus Gambit?
I feel like the Lotus Gambit is that Uncle Doctor finds out that we basically threw one of his prodigal children under the bus. And we're saying, because we, like, I don't know if Uncle Doctor was in on it. But
he's probably going to work it out, right? I think that might be just effectively on the way anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. No matter what, they're going to give another job to Jack that's going to be similarly problematic.
Yeah, I think again that might be something that they're going to do anyway.
Okay.
I wonder if maybe...
I'll tell you what. I got one.
Go
on. Jack's been bonded.
Oh my god! But Jack wasn't really here. That was a lie that you told them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't here last week.
Sorry. Fair.
Or what if they're like, okay, we believe you, but now you have to do something for us.
Yeah, I think they could ask you to do something. Well, yes, that they ask you to do something to prove that what you're saying is true in the moment. Or, I mean, I'd also offer that maybe. What about the Lotus Gambit that they've arranged the proper approvals with the thieves guilds to do some thieving in this city, and you haven't. So the Lotus Gambit is a problem with the thieves guild.
We don't have the license to be here.
Yeah, you haven't paid the right protection money.
I suppose it's too late to try to convince them this was just a mission of, sowing chaos and mayhem and disruption.
I mean, you might convince them of that if the bluff roll goes well, but if
They
you
know
take
who
the
we
Lotus
are.
Gambit, then no. I mean, you can just not take a Lotus Gambit. Like that's obviously on the table.
But that's no fun. Anytime I can take a Lotus Gambit, I want to take a Lotus Gambit. Are we okay with the Thieves Guild now being mildly annoyed with us and wanting us to do something to make it right? All right,
I'm okay
I see.
with that.
Sure, in chat. All right, so I will go ahead and take that Lotus Gambit.
Right. So I think you're up to 2 dice.
I'm up to a whopping 2 dice.
Uncle Doctor, do you want to assist?
Yeah, I'd like to assist.
All right, so that takes it up to 3.
What do you do or say to help out?
I'm going to give them a map.
All right.
I'm going to show them the scans that I've taken of the inside of the compound so far.
Cool.
Right, so that gets me up to 3.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get any better.
I think that's right. Nice, a crit.
Oh. 2 crits, no less.
So you succeed and you get some sort of extra benefit. So they fully go for it, right? They're calling into the radio like, now, it's the perfect time. Some other thieves are here, like they said. But they've fully gone for it. And you have every opportunity to make a getaway. Is the extra bonus just that you get back safely to the safe house? Like, what do you want as your extra benefit on the crit?
I don't suppose they could kind of square things up with us for the Thieves Guild.
Well, that was your Lotus Gambit, right? Like, you've got to accept that.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, it could maybe repair our relationship with them a little bit.
Could we go from -2 to -1?
Yeah, if you want that, sure.
Okay.
Or, I mean, on the other hand, we could deal an especially devastating blow to the hand of the Cocoon right now, since there's these other people coming in to mess with them even more.
Wait, I don't think that it's on the table to improve your relationship with them, because they're going to know that you lied to them about Jack. So it's hard for me to see how helping them execute a plan that they're only doing because you've tricked them into doing it and has no real benefit for them.
Right, and any spoils they get from this is going to be canceled out by the fact that we set them up.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you set them up. I wasn't there.
Is there... I don't see any way that it could improve our relationship with the hand of the Cocoon, that we just wrecked their base and sent Tango Foxtrot in to attack.
I think it makes sense that we should be able to get where we're going in the city now that if there are any people coming after us, they're probably tangled up with the Tango Foxtrot folks now.
Or the elephant. Or the hand. Or some combination.
Yeah, I think that's the simplest thing, and it also brings everyone back together. So let's do that. All right.
And then I take a hot bath, and I'm coming out as Rona shows up, drying my hair and everything.
Beautiful. Rona, do the others come back? Kluge still smelling terribly from the elephant, if I recall correctly, before that bath.
Yes.
Kluge, do you ask Rona about the symbiote? That I can't remember exactly what she promised, but something to the effect that you could, look at it later.
As soon as I see Rona walk in, I absolutely go bounding up to her and it's like, "Where's the symbiote? Huh? I want to see it."
Does Agatha, does Rona look any different? Or does she has she changed?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if is that a thing that happens? Question mark.
We're
I
going to
guess
defer to you on that.
Okay. I guess the fun thing is probably yes. I feel like maybe okay, if this takes on is melded / bonded into me, then maybe I take on some kind of feature that is similar to it, and then it also looks a little bit different. So maybe it has the tufts of feathers around its ears now, like me.
Nice.
And then maybe my hair is now the color of its fur.
And the nice. And so, is it attached to you now? Can it? What's the nature of the bonding?
I feel like psychic bonding more than a physical. Well, the physical manifestation of the bonding is our looks are changed, but in terms of how we're connected, it's more psychic. So it doesn't need to be close to me. But we're probably both more comfortable when we are closer to each other than when we are further apart.
Nice. So you let Kluge play with it?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I first ask for its permission, and I was like, I'm sorry, I promised this. But Kluge will be Kluge is nice. And we'll respect it if you say no.
I don't think it's going to communicate per se. But it's definitely, the way it moved before when you first saw it coming out of the safe, it had this aggressive quality to its movements, but now it seems much more relaxed and sedate.
Yeah, I offer the symbiote. I think it probably slithers along my arm, and then looks at Kluge without its eyes, but looks in the faces the direction of Kluge.
Yeah.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, I think so.
And I will hold out my arm to see if it wants to crawl onto me.
I don't think it does.
And I'll look a little sad, but I'll respect the boundary.
Cool.
That's character growth, folks.
So I think that probably ends the scheme. How are the four of you making your way back to Lachlan? Sorry,
including the creature.
Yeah, the four of you plus pets. How did you travel down here?
Can I just make something up?
Yeah.
Well, we've said that Pine Lock is a very mountainous, kind of almost alpine region, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that there are big, almost ski lifts, gondola cars that go up and down the mountain, and they're rickety, and they have about they're about as reassuring in their structural integrity as like one of those old wooden roller coasters from like the like a boardwalk or something. Like they shudder, but it's definitely a lot easier than like going over land, over like the sort of raw, craggy landscape of Pine Lock.
Cool. So let's roll into some of the downtime mechanics, starting with rolling for upkeep to see how much you have brought back from your score. How many shells? So to figure out, sorry, I'm looking at the upkeep pressure and entanglements column in the cheat sheet if you want to follow. After a successful score, you gain shells, an abstraction of Tamaris's currencies. You can roll a dice pool based either on, the tier of the faction that you did some work for, or if you were working for a town, city, or settlement, you can reduce the region's prosperity. I mean, it doesn't really say if you. It says if there's a specific faction you did the work for, not a specific faction you did the work against. But I think it probably makes sense that you roll the Hand of the Cocoons tier for this, which would be 2.
That seems right. Because
I
that
mean, the
would
alternative
determine
is
like
that
how
you
much
roll it
they have
through.
access, how much they have that we can access, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, so does one of you want to roll 2 dice to see how much you scored?
Sure, because they're a tier 2 faction, right?
Yes.
I'll do that right now.
And you're going to gain shells equal to the highest die result.
Okay. That's
nice.
a 6.
All right. So,
wow, a 6 and a 1.
I'm just looking for where. Okay, so we have the problem that you seem to only be able to record up to a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 6 shells, and you already had 1. I guess I can just turn this into a blank square. Sorry, I'm just fiddling with the keeper now.
This is on the
Magpies tab
sheet. Yeah, okay. It doesn't seem like we track the shells individually, right?
So I think that the deal is actually that you can choose whether to take some of the shells for yourselves individually, or whether you want to keep the shells for the group. But is there somewhere to record shells on the character tabs? I'm not sure about that.
It doesn't seem
Maybe
like it.
it's
So
not.
let's just put it in the.
All right. So sorry, I'm just gonna mark that you got 6 of these. I think it's that one. All right. No, I want this one to look like that as well. No, it really won't change from black.
Could we just like invest one right away in the
yeah.
like let it spill over into the prosperity track there?
Sure, let's do that.
If we can't hold it anyway, and that's probably one of the things we're going to do with it.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that very reasonable suggestion. Is everyone okay if we do it that way? So you've scored 6 shells, and one of them is being held for investment in a cache.
Sorry for rolling a troublesome amount of shells.
That's all right. So now we're going to talk about pressure. It represents the weight of public attention and the expectations of your own community. You're gaining pressure at the end of the mission based on how much damage you caused. 0 pressure for smooth and simple with no collateral damage. 2 pressure for contained with minor collateral damage. 4 pressure for chaotic problems spilled over into civilian areas, major collateral damage. Or 6 pressure for wild and devastating civilian casualties and severe collateral damage. I think that's a pretty clear 4.
Yeah.
There were no casualties, but the collateral damage was extensive. So we'll call that a 4.
And there's somebody who can tie us back to a location.
Yeah. +1 pressure for each of a well-connected or high-profile target. Do you think the hand of the cocoon count is well connected or high profile?
Pretty much, yeah. I
All right.
think.
So we're sitting on 5. A mission conducted in hostile territory. That seems like a slam dunk. So that's a 6. Does anyone have a vendetta against you?
I mean, I feel like the hand of the cocoon probably should.
I don't think they. Oh, is it like while we
If
were
they
doing
didn't
it,
already,
or is it?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Not all that clear to me. Let me have a look at the text. Yeah, I mean, it just says add 1 pressure if anyone has a vendetta against you. I guess it must be. I mean, I would assume that means someone involved in or affected by the scheme.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so that is 7. But I don't think anyone was severely injured or killed on the mission. Is that right?
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Annoyed, yes, but
Absolutely. All right, so I'm marking 7 pressure on the. That leaves you with 1 empty space on your pressure track in the Magpies tab.
when Donna gets back and asks us what happened, I think that we simply tell her that it's all her fault because she wasn't here to stop us.
Okay. So you're only 1 away from marking strife for the first time, which is exciting to think about for the future. I'm going to generate an entanglement by rolling a number of dice based on your current pressure. So 7 pressure gives you 3 dice, and checking it against the 0 strife table. Okay, so I get to roll 3d6. 5. Let me have a look at the 0 strife table, which I didn't include in the keeper because it's big. Bear with me for a sec. Oh dear. Community conflict. A fight breaks out in your community. Head it off, shut it down, or spend shells equal to your prosperity +1 to repair the damage. If you can't diffuse the tension successfully, gain +2 pressure. So I think that what we'll do is hold that over for next time and talk about what the community conflict is. Well, actually, does anyone, I can come up with something for next time, but does anyone have an idea about a tension in the community that might spill over? I don't really feel like we've established enough about Lachlan to say what that might be.
well, we know that there was already somebody who had some interest in the hand of the cocoon. Maybe there are some other people in town who have developed similar ideas or sympathies.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So I think we'll pick that up next time and find out exactly what the conflict in the community is and how it affects you. But I reckon let's pause here. It's again finishing up a bit early. Everyone hates Jack. Is that the conflict? Everyone is annoyed at Jack.
No, Jack shows up and it's like, "Why did you throw me under the bus like this?" And then that confrontation becomes a fight.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think Jack could definitely be involved in the conflict somehow. But yeah, I reckon let's finish up there for this week. We'll get you to mark XP for your. You know what? You should have been marking XP every time you rolled a desperate action, and I forgot to remind you of that. So
I mean, almost everything we rolled
yes,
was desperate. So.
But I don't know that anyone's going to be able to remember which attributes they were marking. They were rolling so well. Do we want to abstract it and say something like you can mark 4 XP in the action attribute? Each of you can mark 4 XP in an action attribute,
I'm okay
or
with
spread
that.
them around how you choose. Does that sound okay, Agatha?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Puckett, are you okay with that?
Twist my arm.
All right. So that's in your analysis, kinesis, or semiosis tracks. And then also just work through your XP triggers, which are down the bottom of your character tab.
Yeah, I think I hit all of these, to be honest. Did I address a challenge with historical knowledge or take a risk to discover something new? Yes. Did I express my heritage, background, or anchors? Yes. Did I struggle with issues with my belief or quirks? Yes.
Cool. So you can apply the XP that you get from those triggers either to your playbook track, any of the attribute tracks, or the cruise XP track, just however you want to do that. Kluge, how did your XP end up looking?
I feel like I addressed at least one challenge, and I think actually a couple, with technical know-how or devising unexpected uses for the tools at hand. Like, can we consider the elephant a tool?
Yeah, I think we can.
All right. Did I express my heritage, background, or anchors? I don't know that I did. And then, did I struggle with issues from my belief or quirks?
So
Go ahead.
go on. I was just going to say, nobody has any quirks yet.
Yeah,
I have one.
Oh, you do. That's right.
I'm not sure that I do, or that I did have any issues, because basically what I got this time around was Rona kind of validating like my, grabbing onto everything around me that's living and or cute and saying, "Come with us, it'll be fun." So I kind of feel like I only hit like that first question.
Right.
But I feel like I got 2 XP from that.
Cool. That sounds right to me. Rona, what about you?
I think let's see. Did I address a challenge with physical prowess or use your surroundings or use my surrounding to my advantage? I think I did both. I mean, physical prowess in trying to stop a person from talking. I mean, I guess that counts.
I mean, I think just like sneaking around through the shadows and stuff as well.
Yeah. And then did I express my heritage, background, or anchors? I definitely did. I'm constantly expressing my my anchor. The safety of Lachlan is my home. Like, I'm very concerned with that. Also, yeah, I think there's that. And then did I struggle with issues from my belief? I don't think I did.
Okay.
I am a protector of Lachlan. It's my duty to keep it safe. I don't think I struggled with it. So
fair enough. So cool. I think that's everything for the session except for stars and wishes. So I'm gonna stop the recording and then we'll do a quick round.